On September 11th, 2001, America watched two of the tallest buildings in the world collapse live on television. Millions witnessed the horror, thousands died, and for many people watching, one haunting question remained. Was anyone still alive beneath the rubble? As hours passed, hope faded. By nightfall, Ground Zero looked less like a rescue site and more like the aftermath of a war. Twisted steel towers lay flattened into mountains of debris. Fires burned beneath the wreckage. Toxic dust filled the air. Rescue workers searched desperately, but with every passing hour, the possibility of finding survivors seemed more impossible. Then, nearly 27 hours after the North Tower collapsed, rescuers heard something. A voice, a woman, alive. Her name was Genelle Guzman-McMillan, and her survival remains one of the most astonishing stories to emerge from the darkest day in modern American history. Before becoming known as the last survivor pulled from Ground Zero, Genelle Guzman was simply a young woman trying to build a better life. Born in Trinidad and Tobago, she moved to the United States seeking opportunity and a fresh start. Like countless immigrants before her, she believed America represented possibility. In 2001, she landed a job with the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Her office was located on the 64th floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At just 30 years old, life seemed to be moving in the right direction. She had a steady job, a future, dreams. Everything changed on a Tuesday morning. September 11th began as an ordinary workday. Employees arrived at their offices. Coffee cups sat on desks. Phones rang. Meetings were scheduled. Then, at exactly 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 slammed into the North Tower. The impact occurred dozens of floors above Genelle's office, but the entire building shook violently. People screamed. The floor trembled. Nobody immediately understood what had happened. Some assumed it was a terrible accident. Others feared something much worse. Within minutes, employees began evacuating. Genelle and a co-worker named Rosa entered one of the stairwells. Together, they began descending, floor after floor. The journey seemed endless. People moved slowly but orderly. Many were frightened, but few imagined the towers themselves might collapse. After all, these buildings had been engineered to withstand extraordinary damage. Most believed they simply needed to get outside. Then came another terrifying moment. At 9:03 a.m., a second hijacked aircraft struck the South Tower. Now everyone knew. This wasn't an accident. America was under attack. Genelle and Rosa continued downward. They eventually reached approximately the 13th floor landing. After descending more than 50 stories, safety seemed within reach, but fate had other plans. Genelle later recalled stopping briefly to remove her high-heeled shoes. Her feet were hurting. She let go of Rosa's hand. It was a tiny decision, one of those ordinary choices people make every day without a second thought. Then she heard a sound, a deep, terrifying roar. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower began collapsing. What happened next occurred in seconds. The 110-story skyscraper folded into itself. Millions of tons of concrete, steel, glass, furniture, and office equipment crashed downward. Genelle later described hearing explosions, rumbling, and walls bursting apart. Then darkness. Complete darkness. The force threw her to the ground. Debris crushed her body. Concrete slammed into her. Steel beams collapsed around her. The staircase disappeared. The building disappeared. Everything disappeared. When the collapse finally stopped, Genelle was somehow still conscious, but she couldn't move. Her body was pinned beneath enormous amounts of debris. Her head was trapped. Her right leg was shattered and crushed. Concrete and steel surrounded her from every direction. The only part of her body she could move freely was her left hand. Imagine realizing an entire skyscraper has collapsed on top of you. Imagine knowing thousands of people have likely died. Imagine being unable to move, unable to escape, unable to see. That was Genelle's reality. She was trapped inside what rescuers later called a void, a tiny pocket of survivable space within the wreckage. Had a single beam shifted a few inches differently, she would have been crushed instantly. Instead, she found herself in a small air pocket beneath one of the largest building collapses in human history. Above her, New York City was in chaos. Thousands of firefighters, police officers, paramedics, construction workers, and volunteers flooded the disaster zone. Search and rescue dogs combed through the wreckage. Heavy machinery arrived. Emergency crews worked non-stop. Yet, as the hours passed, the outlook became increasingly grim. The collapse had generated unimaginable force. Many victims were never recovered intact. Rescuers understood the odds. Finding someone alive beneath that mountain of steel seemed nearly impossible. But deep below the rubble, Genelle was still alive, still waiting, still hoping. Hour after hour passed. The pain was unbearable. Dust filled her lungs, her body cramped, her injuries worsened. At times she drifted in and out of consciousness. She prayed, she cried. She thought about her family. She wondered if anyone would ever find her. Most terrifying of all was the uncertainty. She didn't know if it had been 1 hour or 10. She didn't know if rescuers were nearby. She didn't know whether she would die slowly beneath the rubble. At one point, she later admitted she was ready to give up. Then came the moment that would make her story famous around the world. According to Genelle, she suddenly felt someone take her hand, not a distant voice, not a sound echoing through the rubble, someone right beside her, someone physically holding her hand. The stranger called her by name, Genelle. Then he spoke words she would remember forever. "I got you." The man identified himself as Paul. For a woman trapped beneath a collapsed skyscraper, those words changed everything. The mysterious stranger reassured her, comforted her, encouraged her to keep fighting. He stayed with her when she felt completely alone. For years afterward, Genelle searched for him. She wanted to thank the man who helped her survive. But there was one problem. Nobody could identify him. No firefighter named Paul came forward. No rescue worker matched her description. No official records solved the mystery. Even today, more than 2 decades later, she still doesn't know who he was. Was he a firefighter? A fellow survivor? A hallucination caused by trauma and dehydration? Or something else entirely? No one knows. While Genelle struggled to stay alive, rescuers continued searching. Then, a breakthrough occurred. Search and rescue teams detected signs of life. Some accounts credit a rescue dog with locating the area where Genelle was trapped. Others describe rescuers hearing sounds from beneath the debris. Whatever happened, rescuers suddenly realized something incredible. Someone was still alive. The rescue operation became painstakingly delicate. Workers couldn't simply dig. One wrong move could crush her. Every beam had to be removed carefully. Every piece of rubble had to be lifted slowly. It took hours, but they kept working, because for the first time in a very long time, Ground Zero offered something rare: hope. Shortly before 1 p.m. on September 12, 2001, rescuers finally reached Genelle. After 27 hours trapped beneath the ruins of the World Trade Center, she was pulled free. The crowd erupted. Rescuers cheered. Some cried. After nearly a full day of searching through death and destruction, they had found life, a miracle. Genelle became survivor number 20. More importantly, she became the final person ever rescued alive from ground zero. Surviving was only the beginning. Her injuries were severe. Doctors feared she might lose her leg. She underwent extensive treatment and rehabilitation. Learning to walk again was a painful process, yet she recovered, not only physically, emotionally, and spiritually as well. Years later, she would write a memoir called Angel in the Rubble, sharing her incredible story with the world. More than 20 years later, Genelle Guzman-McMillan continues speaking about resilience, faith, and survival. But one mystery remains unsolved. Who was Paul? The man who held her hand. The man who knew her name. The man who appeared when she was closest to surrendering. Skeptics argue that extreme trauma can produce vivid experiences. Others believe he was a real rescuer, lost in the chaos. And many believe something more extraordinary occurred that day beneath the rubble. Genelle herself has never claimed to know the answer, only that when she needed help most, someone was there. And then he was gone. In a disaster that killed nearly 3,000 people, where 2 massive skyscrapers vanished in less than 2 hours, Genelle Guzman-McMillan achieved what should have been impossible. She survived the collapse of the North Tower. She survived being crushed beneath thousands of tons of debris. She survived 27 hours in darkness. And she emerged as the last living person ever rescued from ground zero. For many, her survival is one of the greatest miracles of September 11th. But perhaps the most haunting part of her story isn't how she survived. It's that somewhere beneath the ruins of the World Trade Center, when the world thought all hope was gone, a voice whispered, "Genelle, I got you." And to this day, nobody knows exactly who Paul was.